Self-love is at the root of every choice we make and at the root of every challenge we face in our lives. Yet we are not taught growing up, as we go to school, as we look at people to model around us, what self-love actually is and how you create it and cultivate it and maintain it within yourself. In fact, if you look at the cultural definition of self-love in the dictionary, what you'll see is conceit, vanity, and narcissism. If you study the texts that are how we train our mental health professionals in this world, self-love is also equated to narcissism. But truly, self-love is just self-love, love directed at the self. And if you are here with me, hello, my name is Christina Rilo, and I am the founder of the Path of Self-Love School. I imagine you already know that self-love isn't any of those things, but that self-love is foundational and fundamental to a person's health, their happiness, their capacity to be and express their fullest self and be a person who can show up in this world, in their communities, in their families, as a person who has the capacity to be compassionate and courageous and loving with others, because that love comes from deeply within. And so if you're here with me, welcome. I'm glad I don't have to convince you of that. When I started the Path of Self-Love School and the self-love movement over a decade ago, so many people thought I was crazy, said that I would starve to death, and people didn't really want to care about self-love, and like it's so weird, and it's so woo-woo, and so wishy-washy. But I imagine if you're here with me, you know it's actually fundamental to everything, which is why I created the Path of Self-Love teacher training, which to me is a lot like a yoga training. So you think about a yoga teacher training, maybe you've done one before, but probably if you haven't, you've heard of it. Sometimes you take a teacher training because you want to go in and you want to learn how to take this information, this methodology, and you want to be able to teach it to others right away. So you might be a person who already in your life is teaching others, guiding others. We have therapists and counselors and trainers and health professionals and coaches and just this full spectrum of people who are already working, teachers, educators, advisors, social workers that are already working with people as a support or help or guide. And then perhaps for you, you desire to bring your work to be a presence in the world in a positive way, and you know that self-love is part of it. Or maybe for you, this is just something for yourself. Again, that's what a teacher training is. When I am a certified yoga teacher, but when I took it partly to be able to help the people I guide as a coach, as an advisor, but I also took it for myself. Because I believe the greatest teachers and the greatest guides in the world have actually embodied the medicine themselves, embodied the methodology. I like to think of self-love as a medicine that we take, that we ingest to help us with this human heart. This world is a little crazy, and I wish I could say that we could protect our children from coming into this world and not getting what we at the Self-Love School call a love crack. And we can't. A love crack is, you think of yourself, you came into this world and you were born as this great big open heart, and you were here ready to give your gifts, express yourself, love, connect, and boom, you met someone here who'd been here a little bit longer than you, and that little pure little heart of yours suffered a love crack. And in that crack went fear, shame, blame, hurt. And from that, you told yourself, I will never let that happen to myself again. And so we take on all these imprints and all these distorted ways of trying to go out there to get the love that we desire. It could be in relationship. It could be in our career. It could be with money. It could be with our body. There is a direct link to a lack of self-love and a strength of self-love in every area of our lives. Most people just don't know that. I mean, look around at how many amazing women and men end up in really toxic relationships. They could be stars at work, but disasters in the relationship. That is a sign of a weak self-love. Or how many people have careers that they choose because of what their parents said or what society says, but it's not really what their heart and soul is really here to do or what fills them up and is meaningful. Lack of self-love. Or how many people do you know that have a very active inner critic that fills their head not just with negative self-talk, but we've identified 33 toxic habits that inner critic runs through us. There's comparison, perfectionism, lashing out, procrastination, body hate. I mean, I can go on and on, overworking, overgiving, obsessing and worrying. And we are not taught how to work with that part inside of ourselves. And we're not taught how to really cultivate a full foundation of self-love. You see, even in the world of people like you and I who get, yes, okay, loving yourself, I got it, let's do it. It feels so vast. It feels so esoteric. How do you actually grab onto it? For me, about now, it's been over 20 years when I was delivered the message, Christine, you have a lot of self-esteem, but you don't love yourself. And not only did I almost marry the wrong person, but I almost created the wrong life. And that set me out on this journey to really understand self-love. Because when I asked my therapist, he couldn't really give me an answer. When I asked the people that were advising me spiritually, they had well-intentioned, but they were just like, oh, love yourself. Oh, and it was like this airy thing I couldn't really grab onto. And my family, forget about them. They just told me to be happy. So no one really had the tools or the processes or the methodology to break it down. So I dedicated over a decade of my life to testing this, to understanding it, to experimenting with it. And now fast forward well over a decade, I have a body of work, a methodology called the Path of Self-Love. It's a methodology or technology that includes processes and assessments and processes to really help look at where is someone strong and where are they weak. You see, there's 10 different components of a strong self-love. It breaks it down for people to understand what kind of inner critic do they have, what toxic habits of those 33 really run them, and what's the deeper piece underneath them that allows them to get into their heart, not to try to just change their mind, but to heal their heart. And through that healing, the mind changes. And then, oh my gosh, don't get me started on self-love and relationships and how many people are just not in alignment with their heart and soul, are suffering because they're looking for love from a job, from a friendship, from a romantic relationship, because they haven't healed those love cracks within or been taught how to source and create what I call a field of love. So my job here and our mission at the school is within 3 generations, we create a world in which every child is born connected to love and stays connected to that love because they know how to source love from within. And we do that starting now by making self-love as accessible as we can to as many people as we can. We have trained over 100 teachers on 6 continents. We have self-love events that have happened in over 41 countries. And I can't reach all of those people. I can't go out there and do all of that. You are you. And whoever you are and however you've been created and whatever your experiences are and whatever your work is in this world, you are meant to reach the people that you're here to reach. And whether that's the clients that sit with you and that come to you, or it's the students that come that teach with you, or the people you mentor, or the people you lead, or just the people around you that you love, you have the potential to change this world by your very presence and your embodiment of self-love and your understanding of how to assess it, how to prescribe the medicine, how to see it in other people, and help to give them real practices, simple ways they can cultivate strong self-love. My job is to teach this methodology to you so that you can take it into your life, into your work, into your own practice. And then together, all of us from all around the world, doing just our part with this, the world becomes the love, the peace, the harmony we desire. So we're looking for people who have different backgrounds and different genders and different socioeconomics and all of those things. We kind of feel like we're the United Nations of self-love here at the Path of Self-Love School. We have such a diverse group of people because we're looking from people from all walks of life to bring the medicine to your community. And so this invitation is from my heart to yours, and I've written it all out here. You can take the training in one of 2 ways. You can take it one module at a time. There's 3 modules. Or you can take the full Path of Self-Love training, which includes all 3 modules plus additional mentorship and additional support. We're committed to you. If you're committed to self-love, we want to support you to get your work and your presence out in the world and to support those that you're here to love. So here's what I recommend. Read this invitation, take it in. I've actually created 3 separate videos about each of the different modules. And then take a look at it. And if you would love to take the first module, great, come, sign up. If you're considering the full path of self-love, there's a little button here on the bottom of the page that you can click and say, tell me more about the full path. Click that, read about the other modules, and then there's a very short application that has like 10 questions on it. And once you fill it out, our program director, will reach out to you, Lee Guthrie, and she'll set up a session with you to talk and learn more about you and what your work is in the world and what you desire. And then also, we can learn more about you and you can learn more about us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you in the training.